people going to think of our new buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back? Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's? What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Ask the Coach on WCLU. Sports Director Joe Myers joined by Glasgow head football coach Jeff Garman. Glasgow goes to Greene County last night and wins a tough road game against the Dragons by a final score of 14-6. It was the first district game for both ball clubs. The Scotties start off their district season at 1-0, and another big district matchup coming up in a couple of weeks after a bye week this next Friday. Scotties will host Monroe County finally back here at Hank Roy Stadium. But Glasgow 1-0 in the district and now 4-3 overall. And Jeff, it was a messy, ugly game last night, but you guys found a way to come out and get a win.
It was, and the only positive I can probably take. Well, I thought the defense played pretty good. That's one positive thing that come out of the ball game. Offensively, a positive would be we found a way to score in some really bad conditions out there, and never really experienced that. And as a coach, you're still trying to learn and continue and trying to figure things out and. With the conditions the way we were, we did struggle with it a little bit. I'm not going to deny that. We had 4 turnovers, very uncharacteristics of us. I don't know if we've had 4 turnovers in the whole year, but that's all part of it, and we live and learn, and we understand that we've got to secure the football a little bit better in these type of conditions, because field position becomes plays a big part when the weather's bad like this, and we've got to keep them pinned back there and just play good defense like we did and get the ball around midfield. And when we get that scenario, they had us pinned back a few times, and we had to try to work out of it. But when you get that good field position in these type of conditions, you got to make them pay, and you got to put points on the board. And we finally did that in the second half.
And you mentioned the 4 turnovers, and it is obviously very uncharacteristic. The entire first 6 games, if memory serves me correctly, I think we had 4 all year long, so you have as many tonight as you had in the first 6 games. But I think at the same time that still says a lot about your team, that you can lose the turnover battle 4-1 and still come out with a tough district road victory.
Well, and the style of offense that we run out of the shotgun a lot, it gave us some problems, and Desi fumbled a couple snaps, and that's all part of the learning process. And he struggled there in the second quarter, and I think it was raining a little bit harder during that time. But I thought he come out in the third quarter, and whatever issues we had, he kind of corrected that, and we played pretty well offensively in the third and fourth quarter.
You got the running game going tonight, 178 yards rushing. Kyle Nixon has a career high, 123 yards on 21 carries. He was responsible for every point that was scored tonight. He had both touchdowns and the 2-point conversion. Just talk about Kyle's game and what you saw out of him tonight.
First of all, I want to give credit to Coach Barnes. I thought he did a good job in finding something that was working positive for us, and he had some plays with Kyle that were successful, and he just kind of kept running them over and over, and the boys kind of got into it a little bit there, and there at the end, in the middle of the third and fourth quarter, it was an emotionally charged football game, and our kids was really flying around out there and having a good time doing it too, and that's always good to see. I thought our defense played pretty well tonight, and I thought our offense did well enough to win. I'll put it that way.
You talk about the emotions of this game, and for whatever reason, it seems to always be a highly charged game emotionally whenever Glasgow and Greene County play. Why do you think that is, Jeff?
Well, since Greene came back over into the district, they've been pretty competitive, and it's always kind of boiled down between Glasgow and Green for the district championship, and it kind of changes a little bit when Monroe comes back into the district. And but that Glasgow Green County game's been a good football game for a while now, and I know earlier in Ricky's career, I think that first year, I don't think we've lost to Green. Now that I think back about it, we had a close ball game out here when I remember Casey Evans was a senior, and I don't know if that was Rick's first year or if that was his second year, and we stopped them on a fourth and inside the goal line play and won like a 38-37 game or something. And but we've kind of had their number here the last 4 or 5 years, and it's a good football. Like I told you in the pregame, that's a traditional football school. Greene County plays good football. They played good football for a while now. And when you play Greene, you'll have to play to be able to beat them. They got tough, hard-nosed kids.
Going back to the running game tonight, Jeff, and we mentioned Kyle's 123 yards. Jasper Mundy carried 6 times for 55 yards. He had a good average per carry. So your guys up front must have been doing a pretty good job. Looked like they were opening up some pretty good holes for your running back.
He did, and he started off the game. I think it was either in that first or second. I think it was the second series. And I think he had those 55 yards all in that second series. He had 3 or 4 good runs and ripped off some big yardage. Then he got kind of banged up in the middle of that game with his shoulder, and fortunate enough he was able to come back and return. But I thought overall him and Kyle both ran the ball very well.
And the line, again, I thought blocked pretty well for him.
The line did. And tonight I thought physically we matched up better with Greene County than anybody we've played all year long.
You talked about the defense and how well they played as your club allows just 171 yards to the Dragons, 134 rushing, 37 through the air. But I thought you mentioned specifically the defensive line. You thought those guys up front played really well. What did you like about what they did up there on the line?
We were active. We flew around to the football, I thought, all night long. And I just thought, again, it was a game that we matched up better with Greene County. They weren't bigger and stronger than us than a lot of the teams we played this year, and I think it showed in our play. We were a little bit more dominating one way or the other, I thought.
The quarterback for Greene County, Austin Matney, had come in averaging right at 100 yards rushing per game. You guys hold him to half of that, Jeff. 13 carries, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have the long carry of 33 yards on that touchdown, so other than that one run, you hold him to just 19 yards on 12 carries. What did you guys do so well to slow him down a little bit?
We just played our defense. And you know, they were doing some things that's not customarily that you'll see. They would send their line up to the line of scrimmage, and then they would do what I call like a scatter real quick out of the huddle and try to catch us where we couldn't adjust or anything. I thought the first couple of series they had a little success the first few plays. But I thought we kind of settled down, played pretty good defense after that.
We'll come back in just a minute, continue with Scotty head coach Jeff Garman. We're back after this on WCLU Sports.